Assalamu alaikum, and in this very important video I will be going to share with you my medical admission hall experience. First of all, as I told you earlier, I was well prepared for my exam, but the exam hall was very gloomy. It was a very scary feeling, to get into the exam hall, as all the students around me were very much nervous, but I was lucky. First of all, I was blessed to have the opportunity to give my admission in my exam school. Okay, so I was blessed with the opportunity to give this exam in my own school, in which I spent a huge part of my life. My high school, Government Laboratory High School. So it was very close to my house, and I went there very early in the morning. Primarily because, a lot of the times you will notice that all the students who fail in the medical exams usually tend to go to the exam hall late. And also there are some rules and regulations also. There are certain rules which tells you that you must go to the exam hall at least 60 minutes before the exam and sit there maybe before 30 minutes at least. So make sure, if you are going to your medical exam hall, you are not late. If you are late, you won't be able to, they will not allow you to sit for the admission test. Okay, now, wow, how was the question paper? Okay, if you ask me about the question paper, it was moderate. It was not very easy, but it was not very difficult as well. And that's the reason why, there was a student who got 70 questions or maybe 60 questions rightly answered. He thought that, this is the cut mark. I have attained chance in, medical college, but unfortunately he didn't. Okay, unfortunately he didn't. It's primarily because, as I told you earlier, as I understood the question was moderate, I understood the fact, I must answer as many questions as possible, whereas this student, he was probably satisfied with, his targeted cut mark. And as I told you earlier, there is no such thing as cut marks in your medical admission test. Regardless of whatever medical admission college that you are trying to get into, don't think of the cut marks. Your goal should be maximization of your mark in the medical admission test. Otherwise, you will probably miss out the good medical colleges which are located in your city or Dhaka. Okay, so be aware about this. Don't go for cut marks, go for as much as you can. But if you find the question to be very difficult, as I told you, the question was moderate, so it was very easy for me. I started from the first question, and first of all, there were some questions which made some sort of confusion in my mind. I marked them and I answered them later on. But one of the things that I maintained in the exam hall that you must be aware of, I answered all the things very fast. As I told you earlier in other videos, at most for the medical admission test, you will get 55 minutes of time during in the exam hall. And so never think of whether you are, filling the sheet of the right answer or wrong, because you don't have a chance to think in the exam hall. All the thinking, all the study, all the preparation should be done before you go to the exam hall. Don't think, just answer. And another thing, for the first timer, this is going to be a very good advice. As you are going for this exam, never ever waste a single moment thinking about it. Your job will be, first of all, get the right answer and fill up the OMS sheet as fast as possible. So be quick, be very quick. Even if the question is very hard, you must answer as many questions as you can. That's what I did. And for me, the biology part was it was a hat trick. So I succeeded in very greatly in biology. I answered geology and botany questions very easily. Then I went for chemistry, and the questions were organized well. And later on, let me tell you about the beginning part of the exam. I have missed out that part. In the beginning part of the exam, there is a certain things called rules and regulations part. Okay, you must fill up the rules and regulations part, or your OMR sheet will be rejected. Do you know how many students lose their OMR sheet because they fill it up wrongly? and also they don't follow the instructions. Probably the questions that you are answering has got a set code. Understand this fact. If it has got set code, what do you need to do? You need to fill up the set code. A lot of the times students, what do you know what they do? They probably don't fill up this set code well. Okay, and also a lot of the times what I have noticed, maybe you could mistakenly fill up a wrong circle. Maybe your answer is A and you have wrongfully answered B, or maybe you have blackened the sheet. So don't think about it. If you have made any sorts of mistake in your OMS sheet, answer the layer questions, but understand the fact, do not make any mistake in the rules and regulations part, or in your roll number, your registration number, or your set code number. If you make any sorts of mistake like this, your entire OMS sheet will be rejected and you won't have any source of chance of getting chance. So beware about this fact. This is very important. And then once the rules and regulations part is done, your job is to just look at the question, find the right answer and answer it. Look at the question, find out the right answer and answer it. Look at the question, this is the right answer. Oh, A is the right answer. I will just fill up A. Okay, B is the right answer. I will fill up B. C is the right answer. I will fill up C. Do not think about anything, because in medical admission test you will have to answer hundreds of questions. And cut marks, if you think of cut marks, maybe it's 80 or maybe sometimes it gets into 90. So this is a very high range marks, especially if the question is easy. If the question is a little bit harder, maybe the cut mark will be around 70 or 75. Okay, so 60, 65, 70, 75, this is the normal range. Okay, but sometimes if you find the question to be a little bit easier, make sure that you answer as much as possible, but make sure, this is one of the awareness. There is also negative marking. That's what I should be telling you about. You got to be very much aware about the negative marking. If you don't have any sorts of clue about any specific question, do not answer it. You must answer only those questions that you are sure, or you are quite sure that this question you know the answer. Okay, so if you are unsure about any source of question and you cannot possibly deduct two options, if you can deduct two options, if you are sure that A is not the answer, B is not the answer, then you could answer B, C or D, because there is 50-50 possibility. But never dare to answer a question that you don't have any clue about. I did not answer a great deal of questions. I don't remember how many specifically. It was probably more than 10. Okay, during the medical admission test, I didn't answer probably 7 to 10 questions, and probably I made some mistakes as well, but somehow I managed to get the desired rank, which helped me a lot. Okay, so what are the other things about the hall experience? First of all the students were very nervous. There was a girl sitting beside me, and there was a boy sitting at the right side of me. So I could understand their interaction, and they were very much nervous. So most of the students, you got to understand, they're very nervous. So what you need to do, you shouldn't engage into conversation with them. Do not talk to anybody during the admission test, because if you start talking with someone during the admission test, you will probably get as nervous as them. So that's my first advice. Do not talk to anyone during the medical admission test, and especially if you start talking, the examiner would have the chance to execute you from the exam. So this is also possible. They can have the expelling power. If they expel you from the exam, what are you going to do? So they could execute such activities. So you must be very, very careful. So what are the other things that I did? First of all, as I told you earlier, do not think, just answer. That was my strategy. And another thing that I would like to share with you is that a lot of the times, what you tend to don't think. If you are unable to answer specific questions, do not think about it. You will just move to the next questions. That would be the solution for you. So my whole experience was quite good in these affairs, but I remember specifically I was very tired. after the exam. If you answer a lot of question, you know, it will be certainly very tiring for you after you get out. And I was very much stressed because I had to answer so many questions and I didn't have the time, you know, the enough time because I was moving so fast. Okay, so every time I succeeded in any admission test, I answered very fast. So try to answer fast, but do not answer any questions that you don't have any idea about. Okay, so reject those questions that are they're very difficult for you. Answer all the questions, as much question as possible, but don't think of cut marks. You know, if you are rejecting a lot of questions, okay, but don't think of the cut marks. Try to answer as many questions that you are sure about. So that would be your strategy for getting chance in medical admission test program. Thank you very much.